Hello and welcome to the 15th annual Bushwick Film Festival. Featured and presented our special Metaverse experience by Lowkey Giant. My name is Rah Crawford. I'm the creative director for the Bushwick Film Festival, also the founder of Lowkey Giant, and we're really excited about this partnership, and we're super excited about our guests we have here for today's panel, the future of film and audience. So let's go around and would love for you guys to introduce yourselves, give us a couple sentences about who you are and what you're doing. Maybe we'll start here at the top. Quincy.
Greetings. Yes. Thank you for having us. Much love, Lowkey Giant. My name is Quincy. I'm a creative director of Seven Vision Studios based in Portland, and we make films and music videos, specializing in dynamic documentaries, and especially to find ways to bridge the elder wisdom to the younger generation.
Excellent, excellent. Let's keep going. Alexandra.
Hi, Rob. Thank you for inviting us to this space. I'm excited to be part of Bushwick Film Festival. My name is Alexandra Love. I'm the project coordinator and assistant director at Seven Vision Studios. And what Quincy said.
Awesome, awesome. That's perfect. That's perfect and concise. B, how you doing?
Hey everyone. Thank you so much for having me as well. More than you know, this festival is very near and dear to me. My name is B Davies, and I have a Web3 medium production studio called Hive, and our first film-related NFT project, Hive Mind, which is actually set in Bushwick, and about a fashion metaverse that just won an NFT award at the iHollywood Film Festival. So I'm super excited to share it with you all, especially my Bushwick community. I lived there for several years, and it turned me into the artist I am today.
Awesome. Kelly.
Yeah, thanks for having me here. This is so exciting to meet such talented filmmakers and to talk about this very exciting topic. I'm an Aussie actress and a filmmaker. I have a nonprofit that I've traveled the world with and filmed a documentary, and I like to make movies with a message. Mental health is especially near and dear to my heart, so that's something I'm working on currently, and really excited about how the Web3 space is going to just revolutionize things for us in entertainment, especially actors and indie filmmakers who haven't had access and resources that some of the bigger studios and producers have in the past. So I'm excited to dive into this conversation.
Super, super awesome. All right, you guys, so let's just get right into it. I want to know, what is it about storytelling, that excites you in two ways, right? So think about it. If you're in front of the camera, as if you're watching the screen. So as an audience member, what is it that excites you about storytelling? And then as a filmmaker, what is it that excites you about storytelling? Have at it. Everyone, just kind of dive in and share your thoughts.
Okay, so I'll jump in because I was just my mic is still unmuted, so why not? The thing that I love about watching, this is why I'm especially passionate about indie film, is I love being transported to different environments and places and spaces that you really feel like you're there. And indie film really highlights that for me because it takes its time. So I like the sound and the almost like the texture that you get from film of when you feel like you're actually in that space, whether it's out in nature or you're in a city, and the sounds of that. I love being transported to those places and feeling like you're getting a view into somebody's life, because growing up on a farm, I didn't really have much access to the outside world. We were an hour from the nearest town, and even that town only had 8,000 people in it. Our movie theater got turned into a church, which is a whole other rabbit hole we're not getting into, but there really wasn't much access to the outside world for me. This was like before the internet was accessible in the outback of Australia. We certainly didn't have mobile phones or anything like that, or even reception where I grew up. So watching movies was my way to transport out of my environment to see what's out there in the world, and that really inspired me to explore and travel and see outside my little bubble of the existence that I knew. So I want to be able to do that for people with my movies too.
Amazing, amazing. Anyone else?
Yeah, just to piggyback off that, I think another reason why Kelly and I connected so much is we had similar upbringings. I grew up in a suburb, though, in the Midwest, and I didn't really find myself represented in media. And so that's when I started to turn towards indie film and in writing my own story. And that's what I've always encouraged everyone else to do through storytelling. If you don't see yourself represented, be that person to create that representation, even if you don't think you're a great storyteller. You know, it's important, especially now, especially with Web3 changing how Hollywood works and what films get to be made. We need those unheard voices out there more than ever. And, you know, as a LGBTQ person in particular, it's been interesting to hear, you know, it's about the numbers, right? And I get that. But with 20% of Gen Z identifying as part of the community, we have the numbers now. And I think Web3 will show the old Hollywood execs that, look, this is profitable, because it's our community directly supporting these artists too, with the way that this technology works or could work.
All right, amazing, amazing. Thank you. Quince, Alexandra, what do you think? I'll kind of restate the question for you guys. You know, before we, looking back, what is it about storytelling that gets you excited? What do you love, from being an audience member or being a filmmaker? What is it about storytelling that excites you?
To expand on what has already been said, which I totally agree with, and I feel, is that filmmaking and storytelling is a way to get medicine to the people who need it. And that's what really excites me now, especially right now, as a filmmaker. I'm more of a beginner filmmaker. And also from being an audience member too, seeing the wisdom that comes through us as beings put into story form has definitely changed my life, and I've seen it be able to affect others and heal others. So for me, it's about the medicine that comes into the world through this type of media, through this type of storytelling.
Beautiful, beautiful. Quince.
Yes, and building on what everyone said, yeah, I feel like it's a beautiful time now with like Web3 and this opportunity for stories. It's decentralized, so it's not dependent on a certain system of gatekeepers or those who have certain financial interests to decide on what stories can get told. And so it is a time where the stories that are important for us to hear, as human beings, those stories that are about empowerment, maybe about liberation, maybe about how we can connect with each other and be about community. These are the stories that can be told on a bigger scale. And to me, the most beautiful stories that I've experienced in my life, is opportunities when I've been able to sit by a fire, sit with an elder and listen to a story. And that's like something that I didn't grow up with that. It came to me later in life on my journey, but we all come from that tribal way of life where we would sit around the campfire and the stories would be passed on from generation to generation. And within those stories would be the values and the wisdom that helps us to remember, what it is to be human being and what it is to live in relationship with each other and the elements. So that's why at this time, it's a beautiful time to be creating, using technology to tell these type of stories. And that's what we're really interested in with 7 Vision.
Wow, that's great background. I can definitely see why each of you are inspired to be storytellers with what you all share. That's fantastic. So imagine, if we will, my friends, we're all, I hope everyone here has seen Wizard of Oz. I hope you have. So imagine we're on this, yellow brick road, because I know Web3 blockchain is like that, right? You hear people talking about it, everyone's new. So, tell me about the basic challenges you're facing currently as a filmmaker, and Web3 being the grand wizard. What do you hope it will help cure or solve or help you with? Anybody, dive in.
World peace.
Okay.
That was a very Miss USA answer, but I really I hope that we can have world peace. No, I really hope that we can break these barriers that were built in this old world. It's more than old Hollywood, and it's more than Web2. It's this old paradigm of thinking that we're all so divided and separated, when we're seeing how connected we are, and especially through this, it's almost we're building our own metaverse through the Twitter Spaces and Zooms of the world, especially these past couple of years because of the lockdowns. I think it really pushed us forward in this tech of being so united and so connected, and realizing how similar we all are, and we all have the same feelings and fears and emotions, and we shouldn't see each other as other or separate, because we all go through such similar things. So I hope that through film, storytelling, and Web3, we can really break those barriers, that we can just see the world around us crumbling. And it's all these old systems, and especially these old patriarchal ways of people that were in power, and we're seeing how destructive it is and how it just doesn't benefit us anymore. And I hope that through everything we're working on, we can really break those barriers down.
Fantastic. Someone else. So, your basic challenges as a filmmaker, how can Web3 and blockchain tech help you with those?
Yeah, I'd like to add that representation was brought up before, and I didn't grow up in this country, but when I came to this country, I noticed very, very quickly that people were racially classified the way I'm racially classified here. That what we see in all types of media and the stories that are told about who this racial class of people can be, and what the limits are, and how that infuses the communities with limited thinking and grasping onto identities that were given to them by colonial systems. The cool thing I think about Web3 is that there's this freedom to tell all of the stories, to see the images and experience the experiences of people in this specific race class. That's just so dynamic. That blows the top off or helps people disattach from their attachments to a certain way of being. They'll have more access to being represented with more dynamic of who they really are, and people who are actually living it and have the stories and experiences, and they're sharing it through filmmaking and other types of media.
Very cool. Very cool. Anybody else? What challenges are you undergoing or experiencing as a filmmaker, and how do you hope, or how is Web3 and blockchain tech helping you?
I'll share what comes to mind for me is I see the Web3 and this new process, involving collective agreements, like money being a collective agreement, and sort of people choosing to work together and collaborate in a certain way, or some type of exchange is taking place in a way where things can be funded, or it's a different way of operating, where it doesn't need to be extraction-based economy. It doesn't need to be like resource extraction. So in the sense of the audience being, okay, we need the audience to just be a consumer. So then we need to just provide, basically like fast food or something that's not really good, but it's like getting people addicted and keeping them addicted. So instead, seeing the audience and the creators as like engaging with something together, and it can be, I don't know exactly how it'll work, but I see it as a possibility with these new collective agreements, where it doesn't need to be based on resource extraction, but instead can be like sharing gifts and can be sort of mutually beneficial in terms of sharing and exchange.
Excellent, excellent. B, any thoughts?
Yeah, I have a couple of thoughts on how the future of this technology will be able to make a huge difference for filmmakers. It's something that I'm working on the tech side of my business, on the software side. But essentially, it's, there's a huge barrier to entry with the cost of filmmaking, right? When you write a script, you have to think about like, okay, that person, that location, that's a dollar sign right next to all of that. And sort of what I started to do in HiveMind is main character, she builds a virtual studio, and it's similar to what I want to create in a real metaverse where filmmakers and fashion designers and other creatives can get their ideas out there at a fraction of the cost and time, because making your projects IRL is expensive, but when you're using virtual sets and avatars, that is very helpful. And the metaverse is not ready for that type of production right now, but it will be one day, and that is something that I'm working on. And also another way it can benefit filmmakers is, the blockchain technology, the transparency in an industry that has a lot of issues with paying everybody, and creating new systems for that is going to be hugely beneficial to everyone involved in the filmmaking process.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, so maybe let's, maybe everyone, let me just give us maybe one example. Let's give one example of what you've seen in industry, perhaps, that you are excited about, the use of Web3, blockchain technology, and filmmaking. It could be something you're currently working on. It could be something you've seen, but maybe one example.
I actually just wanted to comment on what B said. Also, it just reminded me of at Sundance last year, they actually had a filmmaker make a short in the metaverse, and it was him going around his friends in the metaverse. So, these are just avatars of people around the world that he was communicating with, and he filmed a little short. So even though, yeah, we are so ahead of the curve, because even the metaverses aren't really metavi, what do we call the plural? They're not quite there yet. But filmmakers are already starting to explore these ideas. So it's really exciting to see that even Sundance is adopting it so early too. An example. Okay, so my favorite example in this space has been what Julie Pacino has done in the Film3 community. So she actually did a NFT collection. She took 30,000 images on set of rehearsals, and she narrowed it down to 10,000, made that a collection, sold out actually, because she had such a strong online community. And I'm actually a holder of one of her NFTs, and it's just a beautiful, on-set rehearsal image, and it's very moody and beautiful, and goes with the theme of the concept that she was shooting then. And even though it's changed a little bit to what the feature will be, it's still aligned with her filmmaking style. And so from that, she was actually able to fund her feature film, and she's already got a built-in audience, because she's got 10,000 people who have already invested into their belief of what her project is going to be, and her as an independent filmmaker. So you've got not only funding, but you've got a built-in audience. So it's removing so many barriers to entry, like B said, of getting into filmmaking, of the price that it takes to get into it. And then we're also solving a lot of issues with distribution, because we already have this set audience ready to go, and they're going to tell all their friends because we've got the NFTs, we want it to be worth something. It's really beneficial for everyone involved. And she's also really inspiring to me, because she has put aside a percentage of her proceeds that she gained from the NFT collection to help female filmmakers. So she's got a fund going. And I really like this philanthropic aspect with NFTs. That's what really got me into it, is it's quite easy to take a percentage of what you're making with the collection and give that back. because everything's very transparent too. So I love what she's doing.
That's awesome. So anybody else have another example that they've seen or maybe they're doing currently?
Yeah. I don't have as much experience. I'm probably the least experienced in the room with all of this as far as like Web3. But I do want to call out something that I did experience, and that was the gallery. That's where we met you in Metaverse person, Rah. The gallery that was created with Kindao for the event that we all attended. What was really awesome about this was it was a virtual meeting space in which all of the film and media makers had Rah and his team, Lowkey Giant, had everything up on the walls of the galleries, like clips of people's movies or what they had been creating. And what was so amazing about that was that there was these common through lines of everything that people were creating of ancestry connecting across the world and everything. And we met some really awesome people doing work that I certainly want to be connected to and possible collaborations. And so I don't know that I would have met and also been able to view it live and hear the artists talk about that work in such an easy way. And anybody could, and there's lots of other people there, anybody could have come in and seen that and also connected across the world, just like that, with everything that they're doing, like, or, example, what they're doing right there. So that is one example of a way that a very simple and beautiful way that I've been seeing the technology of Web3 help connect all of us.
Awesome, thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah, quickly here. All the work that Kindao has been doing, and Asia, and Primordia DAO, they're great. They've been the ones to introduce us basically to Web3. And for example, one of the DAOs that they are that's a part of Primordia DAO is they're restoring caves in South America, and they created an NFT that's connected with that. And I don't remember their exact name, but that's, Primordia DAO and Kindao are the ones who are basically supporting and helping these type of DAOs all over the world. So definitely check them out, and their work is really inspiring to me and to us, and seeing how it can, what's happening in Web3 can also influence communities that are in need, and, such causes as, environmental awareness, and, finding ways to like restore our relationship with Mother Earth.
Beautiful. B.
Yeah, so recently I submitted a script to Decentralized Pictures. They're a blockchain platform that does community-based voting on which projects get funding. So it's using this blockchain technology that I spoke about that is already implemented in these voting systems, and with the payment as well. And it's even bringing the cast and the crew into this platform too. So that was really fun because if you don't already have events, it can be very hard to do an NFT project on your own in order to fund a movie. So it was a great experience working with them, and there's some other platforms as well doing similar things.
That's fantastic. I want to thank you guys for joining us today. I know it was a short one and sweet one, but it felt like we had a chance to just hear your perspective, get to see your smiling faces, and understand kind of what makes you tick as a filmmaker. And that was the goal here. So thank you each for making time to do that today.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity.
Yes, this is awesome. Thank you.